What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, what's really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is down 2.5%, 736 the low, 760 the high, but we are seeing very low volume. So 20.9 million shares being traded, 89.1 is the average. Nothing coming out from the company today, no SEC filings. During the pre-market, we did see a certain level of optimism. It was holding its own and kind of signaled that it wanted to essentially move higher, but clearly the market did have other plans, and it's not necessarily shorts. So shorts didn't cause all this. It was actual institutions selling, and it wasn't on the secondary market. So it's not a lot of smaller players, because so far there's been absolutely nothing, crickets, on the secondary market. Dark pool seems to be a little bit more active, so it goes to show that it's hedge funds is kind of one of the main culprits on why NIO is moving down. That alongside algorithmic trading. But like I said, no news from NIO, no SEC filings or anything like that. Shorts at the time of doing this video are returning 445,000 shares. So again, it is hedge funds primarily, as well as algorithmic trading. They are the culprits on why NIO is moving down. And I'm sure some of that is just because of the technicals. NIO did fail to really get above a key resistance level numerous times. So typically what does happen is you see a little bit of consolidation and then it attempts again, because if you think about it, nothing operationally has changed, nothing really negative. So I think at the end of the day, today is just more of a technical pullback. Nothing really to worry about in my opinion, but 11.07% of the free float's being shorted. Works out to be 153.28 million shares overall being shorted. A couple of things did come out unofficially, of course, I wanted to share with you. One was this right here. So 𝗪𝗧𝗪 did post this saying that, of course, NIO not heading to the States because they announced that in June, but ultimately through McLaren, you'll be able to see NIO's presence. So McLaren hasn't really mentioned exactly when they will be integrating NIO's batteries and technology, but it is fair to assume that it's going to be, I think, late 2026 or early 2027 from what I've read, unless I could be wrong about that. That's, again, the States, not counting Europe. But NIO will eventually make its way through the technology, through McLaren, to the States. So again, just wanted to kind of bring this up. Of course, this isn't a reason to buy NIO nor sell. It's just more of a good FYI. This, on the other hand, potentially might be something to kind of take note of. So you do see the test vehicle, ES9, going around. And NIO, I think generally, if we look back at what has happened with NIO price point wise, it always moves higher with new launches. So ES9 is set to be launched. I think it is first half of 2026. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, or if you know more of a closer date. But nonetheless, NIO has really moved higher with new launches. So market does really like that. So the ES9 should be pretty good, a nice good catalyst. But as far as right now, we just see it being tested. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. Aside from those two things, it's not really much coming out. Looking at the options, 7.1 million in calls, 1.7 in puts. 65% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. And this is exactly what hedge funds and big institutions like to do. Normally, shorts are part of this strategy, but you do have individuals and institutions buying puts and then they sell. So they buy puts first thing and then they are free to unload their shares. Their puts do appreciate and they kind of leave the winner ultimately. So this is why you do see, as soon as the market does open, NIO and many other stocks, in fact, just randomly go down. And so it is just a little bit of a manipulation. Some people might disagree with me on that, but looking at this from the bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be above roughly 8 to 850 by the end of this Friday. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub $7 for the most part. So a little bit more upside anticipated, but still you do see a certain level of bearishness that is going on. No transactions on the secondary market, so kind of smaller transactions and institutions aren't really getting involved with NIO, not really buying the dip. Based on the dark pool, like I said, I think a lot of hedge funds are selling. Unfortunately, $1 million question is why. I would assume it has to do with more the technicals rather than anything. Right now with that 741, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So this R1 has been tested numerous times, and unfortunately NIO did fail to really get above that. So 783 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. $7 is going to be the next strong support. So the fact that it did fail to get above this R1, it does lead me to believe that we will be seeing this pivot point. So a little bit more further consolidation, and most likely how this will all play out is we will bounce off of this and reattempt this R1. So like I said, a little bit of consolidation I think overall is healthy for any stock, especially how much NIO has actually ran up. So for instance, over the last 1 month, up 21%, over the last 6 months, up 120%. So NIO's definitely done fairly well. As I've mentioned in the past, I always find it comical. NIO consolidates a little bit and you have people ripping their hair out, panicking. So sentiment definitely does flip-flop quite a lot with NIO, but I think generally nothing operationally has changed to really be that negative, unless you're more of a technical, like a swing trader type of investor. And in that case, yeah, you might not necessarily be that bullish on NIO, because if you're following the technicals and it failing to get above this 783, then yeah, you're gonna see some consolidation. But I think at the end of the day, NIO has made a lot of good kind of improvements operationally recently. So let me know your general thoughts on that. Aside from all that fun stuff on the actual chart, today it is currently below that 10-day moving average. So it shows that momentum is kind of slowly breaking, and like I said, it kind of does justify for the consolidation possibly, but there hasn't really been all that much in news because of the holiday. No release of the weekly registration numbers, so that could have been a good catalyst in my opinion to really help NIO, but because of all that, it's just at the mercy of the broader market. So a little bit of consolidation possibly based on this, and even comparing the market position today versus yesterday, you see a lot more willing sellers. So again, not the best, and we still haven't had actually any analyst ratings because of their monthly and quarterly numbers. So that's very odd. It'd be kind of a waste at this point if they kind of put it out now, which is almost like a week and a bit later. So I don't know, let me know your general thoughts on NIO. If it does consolidate back down to that 7, this is where I'll start to sell puts. So if you don't know options, highly suggest in researching them. But as I've brought up in the past, if you do truly believe in NIO, and let's say a lot of people are shouting that it's going to go to 10, definitely you can consider looking at options. So if you do think $10 is realistic, let's say by, I don't know, throwing up January. I've seen a lot of people say November, but even here you can do a long call spread. Return on risk, you get 381.93%. Or you could just do long covered call, long call. There's a lot of different options, but definitely I'd recommend looking at options because you can make some pretty good money based on this and a little bit better of a return on investment than owning the stock. Nothing wrong with just owning the stock, of course, but yeah, if you want to make some serious money, options is the way to go. So let me know your general thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. I put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.